Hi, it's Iyara, Vedic astrologer, with a clip about the upcoming lunar eclipse on Thursday, May 5th, when at 7:35 p.m. the full moon at 20 degrees of sidereal Libra will be eclipsed by Ketu, the lunar south node. It is a partial lunar eclipse, which means that the shadow that the Earth casts will not cover the face of the moon totally, but it will be beautiful to watch and can be watched from Asia and Australia, and from the east of Europe and Africa it can be seen at moonrise. In India, this full moon is celebrated as Buddha Purnima, the festival that honors the birth, the enlightenment, and the death of Gautama Buddha. It falls always in the lunar month of Vesak in the Hindu calendar, which is associated with the constellation of Vishaka. It is interesting that every year the Sun transits the constellation of Vishaka in November and the full moon transits Vishaka in May. And these are the 2 months, November and May, when Mercury, Buddhi in Vedic astrology, transits over the Sun, which causes a Buddhaditya yoga that increases our inclination and ability to absorb knowledge. In the month of November, when the Sun transits the constellation of Vishaka, Diwali is celebrated, the festival of lights that expresses the longing for more light to enlighten the world. And in May, with the full moon in Vishaka, Buddha Purnima is celebrated, the figure of the enlightened Buddha. Venus is the lord of this eclipse in Libra, and Venus is conjunct Mars in sidereal Gemini, 9 signs or houses away from the full moon, which is a position that speaks about guruship and wisdom. The other guru, Jupiter, is the planetary lord of Vishaka, the lunar mansion where the full moon is placed, whilst Ketu eclipses the luminary from the constellation of Swati. There is a clear focus on light, knowledge, wisdom, and the Guru principle, someone who brings us out of the ignorance and darkness of our conditioning through his light, his high vibration, and our willingness to focus our attention in this direction. The Mahabharata relates how Acharya, the guru of the Pandavas and Kauravas, took all of them one day out in the garden where he had hung a wooden bird from the branch of a tree, and he asked them to describe what they saw. They described the trees, the flowers, the branch of the tree from which the bird hung, and even the bird itself. But when it was Arjuna's turn, he said that he only saw the bird's eye. And Acharya asked him to shoot his arrow that sped straight to the target. Acharya embraced Arjuna and told the others, when you want to achieve something, you must focus on it. Why is it so important to focus, especially in Vishaka and with this eclipse? Well, Agni and Indra, the two devas who together preside over the constellation of Vishaka, give us the explanation. Both have in common an insatiable appetite. Agni, the fire, wants to consume and consume, and has a great hunger for beauty difficult to satisfy. Indra, the king of heaven, the highest in the pyramid of the Devas, has an insatiable thirst for soma and for power. The Shiva Purana relates the story of Kartikeya, the younger son of Shiva and Parvati, who at a very tender age killed Tarakasura, a demon who threatened the world, and how Indra felt so much envy that he attacked Kartikeya, who split into two, Shaka and Vishaka. This division into two speaks of lack of focus and of two approaches one can take. With one approach, we do focus the appetite, the hunger, thirst, or longing that we feel in a devotional direction that benefits the evolution of our soul. And this eclipse brings a lot of appetite for new experiences, especially regarding relationships. Our relationship with others and our relationship with the divine. We have a Venus-Mars conjunction that brings a lot of passion. Jupiter is conjunct Rahu, the lunar north node, and that causes a Guru Chandal yoga full of excitement, over excitement sometimes. And with Jupiter and Rahu in sidereal Aries, in opposition to the eclipse in Libra, we have also the Sun conjunct Uranus, a conjunction that brings a strong need for independence and the freedom to become truly oneself. And sandwiched between these two conjunctions in sidereal Aries, we have Mercury retrograde, almost paralyzed in midst of this excess of fire and air, which means that we need to contemplate carefully what decisions and commitments we do make in these days. Because with the other approach, without focusing in a devotional and evolutionary direction, we most likely will find ourselves on a continuous search for satisfaction, for another peak experience or some kind of compensation, because we do not find this everlasting satisfaction that we are looking for. We all know that lasting happiness cannot be found outside, but only inside, if we live in connection with the bliss of our own eternal being. And it is then when we can fully enjoy everything that delights our eyes or our palate, as Agni and Indra do. The eclipse will, of course, present us with trials, temptations, and opportunities. And we need discernment as well as openness and flexibility to grow with this process. Most of them will be presented to us in the field of relationships, intimate relationships, as well as relationships between peers, with friends, siblings, or co-workers, and also the relationship with the guru or another authority figure. People from our past may appear, or ghosts of our psyche, that is, patterns of our own conditioning becoming visible. We can feel a lot of dissatisfaction and the desire to change something in a certain relationship. Bonds can be broken and new bonds will be established. The bigger picture is a little bit like a dance on a chessboard, looking for a new and somehow fairer balance. It is interesting that the family of eclipses to which this lunar eclipse belongs, and that is Saturn's cycle 141, deals with the theme of suddenly having to assume new responsibilities, without or within. Sometimes the person who was burdened former with the same responsibility is no longer able to carry on, and it may come to us like a shock or a heavy obligation, but in the long term it benefits our evolution. Some people get liberated from commitments and others need to make outer or inner commitments. You can have a look where Libra falls in your sidereal chart from your ascendant and get an idea about the area of life mostly impacted by this eclipse. And you can remember what went on in your life in April 2005 with the last lunar eclipse and in January 2010 with the last solar eclipse of this very same family. Let us not forget the importance of focusing our attention and intention into a clear evolutionary direction of our choice, instead of making impulsive decisions and allowing old patterns of conditioning to make us lose our mind. Each of us needs to become Indra within, the sovereign king, the sovereign consciousness, the inner master with dominion over ourselves. Not in a rigid or closed fashion, but flexible and fluid. Vayu, the god of wind and air, is the presiding deva of the constellation of Swati, where Ketu, the lunar south node causing the eclipse, is located. Vayu stands for life force or prana that makes our lungs breathe and our heart beat. There are 5 pranas in our subtle body, pranas that long for a harmonious unfoldment, which means that they need to move and flow. Swati in Sanskrit means the one who moves greatly. And Vayu is a powerful deva who purifies the environment from any obstruction or contamination, as a violent storm if needed. Vayu and Swati foster new beginnings, which always implies that something old has to die. The symbol of Swati is a blade of grass, which represents the new and the needed flexibility, as well as the hidden inner strength. We are going to need all these qualities in addition to the ability to focus and the internal mastery in order to handle the intense energy of this eclipse that may present itself rather in a soft fashion, but nevertheless its effects will be profound. The fire of Agni and the wind of Vayu promote purification and transformation, whilst Indra, Jupiter and Venus stimulate the expansion and refinement of our perception, and that facilitates subtle experiences of beauty and bliss. Contemplation, meditation and pranayama are important in these days, but also physical exercise. We need to move and root ourselves to earth, because all visible planets are in air and fire signs in the sidereal zodiac, and this can easily make us lose our anchorage and balance. And Buddhi, Mercury, rules the earth element in the first chakra. The Shakti of the full moon in Libra is Sharana Shakti, the power of refuge, acceptance, peace of mind and comfort. The moon is eclipsed by Ketu, whose Shakti is Havana Shakti, the power of sacrifice, offering, destruction and transformation. And the Shakti of Venus, who rules the sign of Libra, is Kama Shakti, the power of love, satisfaction and fulfillment. And finally, the Shakti of Jupiter, who rules the lunar mansion of Vishaka, is Starana Shakti, the power of expansion, evolution and blossoming. The most suitable deity to place on our altar, in addition to a figure of Buddha, is Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi stands for union, her union with Vishnu, and the joy that blossoms from this union. And we are looking for union with this lunar eclipse, union with our divine self and union with others. Hence, I would choose an image of Lakshmi and Vishnu to place it on our altar. Light a black candle, black because the highest strength of Venus is at midnight, as well as lightening an incense, perhaps of rose, raspberry, cherry or periwinkle, which are herbs traditionally associated with Venus. And an appropriate mantra would be Om Shri Mahalakshmiye Namaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmiye Namaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmiye Namaha. Many blessings to all of you, and see you for the next new moon.